Hello everybody, and welcome back to the LJL Officially Unofficial. I'm still your host, Alex, otherwise known as Lexi, go by Mars1, still on the internet. Of course, I'm joined by Nymera, our color commentator, and Initialize, our play-by-play caster. It's the same thing, I just like to always give them multiple different titles to make them feel extra special, because that's what they are to me. So special. So very special. But damn! Crest Gaming! Yo! I thought they were going to stomp, or then the draft went different. Then Burning Call said, actually, our Lee Sin, our jungler, wants to actually have a pop-off game montage moment because he's working on a YouTube video for his side hustle. So he needs to really pop off against some good players. So you guys, cool? Oh, I'm just going to... Oh.
Yeah. Well, I had a running theory that CGA, they don't really fight at any given point in the game because they want to win the game. They just want to make montage reels. So maybe we need to start setting. Yeah, maybe we need to set up the narrative that actually CGA are there to make montage reels for everyone.
Indeed.
Actually, they are the montage team.
One way or another.
So maybe DFM are in for like a massive windfall here. They're gonna have like their craziest game yet, and we'll see in a couple of minutes.
Yes, this is gonna be Crest Gaming now on the first loss of this week, currently sitting at 4-3, facing off against the kings of the LJL, DetonatioN FocusMe, who are gonna be looking to get that extra win over the top, really pushing them into that 7-0 bracket, really defining and getting a good head start on the rest of the league.
And absolutely, this team has been running rampant. We saw there last week be another step up from them. They managed to pull off a pretty clean 1-3-1 against an Olaf Soraka composition and played some really clean macro along with some very smooth micro to play some League of Legends we weren't necessarily expecting out of the LJL at a kind of quality level. We weren't expecting this early into the split either. So real kudos to DFM, and I'm kind of hoping they keep that level up and force other teams to come match them.
Whereas on the other side, just to quickly say some stuff before we go on to our last kind of points before going in, is that CGA, this is not a matchup we've seen before. Nope, this is not one we've seen. This is one of the last few where we've not seen the two teams face off. And this is the one which I've been hyped about for weeks. This first game puts a dent into that, because if CGA are going to be coming into this on coming in a bit cold, coming in after a bit of a crap game, it would really suck to have this hyped up matchup be affected by that, because CGA do have the talent. We've seen them take some fantastic games off of some teams which got leads on them before. But we've also seen them absolutely stomp before and all those other things. I would really like to see CGA push DFM to the limit.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, this is the LJL Officially Unofficial's game of the week for week 4. Crest Gaming out versus DetonatioN FocusMe, and that mid lane matchup is partly why this is the big game for this week. Aria versus Syros. We had this 2 weeks ago when it was the Hawks versus DFM, and we finally got to see the dream match we've been waiting for, and it definitely delivered. So then we're getting arguably now the slightly better team, and Aria has been potentially the slightly better mid laner than Ramune so far in the split. Definitely going to be the battle of the mid lane. Who will win, the Emperor or the new rising star?
There's a lot to be talked about there.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be more the mid jungles as well, because Once just had a killer game as well. So Once and Arya teaming up versus Steel and Seros will be a really interesting matchup, and especially because we've seen Seros is so willing to pull out the most ridiculous of pocket picks. Like, he's got Heimerdinger and Ziggs and Karma available to pull out, and other mid laners just sort of bang their heads against the wall that is Seros Control Mage Ocean.
Yeah, but I think that if CGA really wants to try and run DFM through, I think they need to have a good mid lane matchup.
Yes,
I think that Arya has proven that he can take games away from the other mid laners of the LJL, but as you're saying, Syros is the indomitable, the unbeatable, the unkillable. So many different titles you can give to this guy if you really want him. So many different adjectives fit him. And if this guy gets a pick where he can just scale up, be the teamfight god that he is, win lane as well if he really wants to, you know.
If he wants to,
you know, I mean, like, he was against Ramirez, like, I decided I want to win lane now, and he did.
And thus happened.
And thus it did happen, and so we'll see if Arya has any claims to the throne of the LJL mid lane.
With that in mind, I think it's time for us to get onto the Rift and really see how these two teams face off. Terrible film from the mid-2000s, I think, or late 90s. Terrible film.
I was not expecting that reference.
Of all the things, we are a Blast from the Past stream, so let me quickly count us in, and we will be able to go into our second game of the day in 3, 2, 1. Good luck to both these teams.
Thank you so much, Mass1, and we are absolutely into our second game and our very hyped match of the week matchup here on the LJL unofficially official stream. So on the blue side, it will be Crest Gaming Act. It's Nap in the top lane, it's Yoshi in the jungle, it's Arya, the man we have been hyping so much in the mid lane, and Gango and Grendel are down in that support and bot position.
And on the red side, for the first time today, DetonatioN FocusMe in the top lane, Ebby, jungle, Steel, mid lane, Seros, bot lane, Utpon, and support Gang.
And there are some very interesting bans having come through already. We're not going to be seeing Seros' Heimerdinger or his Ziggs immediately banned away. Arya wants nothing to do, or not, neither is Karma as well. Triple pocket pick ban towards
Look
Seros.
at that man.
And he's just
Look
like,
at that
what?
man on screen. He is not phased at all. He's just there's like, guess I'll have to pick my 4th unique champion.
Oh,
Whereas DFM actually doing their own work against Arya as well, taking off that Zoe away from Arya, and also the Soraka, that solo lane menace on patch 10.3, does leave open the first pick on though for CGA.
Yeah, but they've... Of course, we'll have to see where Seros goes, but CGA have definitely got a strategy in mind that says, I want nothing to do with those pocket picks. Where DFM will go with these first 2 picks, I'm not entirely sure.
There's a Yumi available.
We have talked about how one option to fight against DFM is effectively to just ban away the pocket picks and just a handshake on trading those power picks around. Rascal Jester's tried it in their first bout with DFM, but CJ appear to be running a similar strategy here, and they have had to pick up the Ornn, but the Yumi misfortune goes over to DFM.
So this is the second time we've seen it. So I said in the last Champions, like, oh, I don't think it's a very good duo. Maybe these guys have a very different read about it. I mean, what do I know? I'm just some guy casting League of Legends halfway across the world. But it is the misfortune Yumi locked in. CGA hovering over the center right now, has fallen off a little bit in priority over in the LJL, but Gango has shown very good games on this pick before, as it is locked in.
Indeed. And maybe speaking kind of back to that misfortune Yumi combo, maybe it's not necessarily the combo, just rather the individual parts being so strong, that whether or not it's good in lane, the fact that they are just 2 very strong picks means it's worth picking up anyway, and I'll be curious to see what this Senna's paired up with. Nautilus is a pretty obvious pick, especially if Grendel has defaulted back to that many times.
I was about to say, if you have a very strong all-in against the Yumi misfortune, then you can kill off that AD carry pretty well. We saw last game that it was CJ tried to do that with the Talia Pantheon. Obviously didn't work out. This is a bit more conventional in terms of landing your stuff. Is still going to go towards the Olaf.
True abomination against society and mankind is locked in. It will be the Olaf Yumi combo. They fought against it the last time. They destroyed it, but this time they've given into the hate. They've joined the dark side. And Darth, Yumi, Olaf, whatever horrific Sith name that duo deserves, will be coming out to play.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a witty response to that. This combo is so disgusting to watch.
Genuinely awful.
You just have infinite healing from the Yumi onto the Olaf, as DFM doing their due diligence again, banning out the LeBlanc from Arya, another one of his power picks, as CGA return the favor in Syndra.
Yeah, of course, that's 4th ban towards Seros. That's all 4 of his kind of signatures just gone. They don't want nothing to do with that. LeBlanc's got as well. Like, there are currently 6 mid lane bans.
There are quite a few. Yeah,
arguably use Soraka as well.
It's arguably there's arguably actually more than that, because Soraka can go towards the mid lane as well. Kiana's banned out as well. That would have probably been. I mean, it could have been over towards Arya. Has played that pick for once.
Indeed.
Could have also been a jungle pick, as Aatrox is the last ban. So not that safe team fighting top laner for Ebby to go rumble into these middle-late game team fights. Rumble actually available as well if you...
Indeed he is. We've not seen that, but looking at potentially a Vladimir pick up RDFM, just what Vladimir needs, more healing with a Yumi.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see that combo. Hemo Plague on top of things like a Bullet Time is also a lot of damage. We'll see the last 2 picks after CJ. They've got a mid laner and probably a jungle to pick up at this point.
If DFM, with his composition already, without even locking in their last pick, if they manage to find flanks onto this team composition of CGA, this
They're
is
in
going
trouble.
to be a absolute stomp, I think. This is such a massive go forward. with the
Yoshi,
UV
are you
team.
sure? We've seen the kindred from him already. Is he thinking about a
He's
Nidalee?
gonna lock in
He is.
Nidalee, okay.
Okay, that's very aggressive. There's going to be probably a lot of early invades. It's what Nidalee loves to do at level 1, 2, 3.
And Nidalee does farm very well from the jungle as well. If you do know you're clear, this will be a bit of a trial by fire for Yoshi, bringing out his second unique jungler to the LJL of the day. It's the first Kindred and the first Nidalee as well, as we might finally see a Lucian picked up in the LJL. It is. Okay, right.
Aria's Lucian. He's a very good Lucian player. I'm super excited to see him do that. I doubt that's a Wukong pick, but we can always live in hope.
Yep. DFM just going over all of the random hovers here right now. CGA, I think, on these last two picks have completely pivoted their composition
Massively.
away from that more front to back team fighting comp. I think they'd like to start taking some of these more skirmishy fights around the map now instead, as DFM lock in the Cassiopeia, which is a decent pick into Lucian if you manage your miasma well.
Yes, and of course, if Lucian dashes forward and you just petrify him gaze in place, he's going to be regretting his life choices. So his dashing a little bit impeded. I like that pick a lot, actually, and especially if you want to slow the enemy team down to allow a sped up Olaf Yumi to run in. That's going to be pretty scary too.
Yeah, and this isn't actually the first Cassiopeia we've seen. We saw one other game. I think it was actually in the first game of the split. That was DFM versus V3, so we saw Ace pick that up. Oh, I think maybe Ninja picked it up once as well. We've seen Cassiopeia once or twice, but it's not been a particularly prevalent pick. In this game, it will be able to tear through the likes of the Ornn and the Nautilus if they do kind of find themselves stuck in the middle of the team after their engage has gone through. Whereas on the other side, CGA have a lot of picks that do want to be kind of dancing around the fights, but the issue might be forced on them with the likes of Olaf, Vladimir running in with the Yumi attached to them.
Yeah, he hit level 6, and we talked about the Sith dark side combo. That battle station will be well and truly
Really
online the
operational.
moment level 6 hits. You can hear Order 66 being called from all the way over here in the UK. But until that point, let's have a look at some of these team comps. I'm really curious about this Nidalee.
Yeah, so Nidalee, we've seen it once or twice around the globe. We saw it from Cuz on T1, saw that, and I think that was in their win over Genji or DRX.
It was
In one of the-
DRX. It didn't look good early. There was the early invade into Int that didn't look spectacular.
Yeah, but eventually Nidalee does bring up quite a lot of utility for your carries, because you can build with the likes of the Athenes and an Ardent if you do like. If you do want to go towards the more supportive build, as we see the game of the week little intro for our game right here.
And of course, it means that they've got good tastes. We're in agreement here, the official stream and the unofficial stream, very happily deciding that CGA versus DFM is going to be an absolute killer. We hope it is, and it looks like it will be from the drafts at least.
And game on. And yeah, I think that basically Yumi is happy to be attached to anyone on DFM this game.
Oh, yeah.
Literally anyone.
Phase Rush Vladimir running in sounds just wonderful.
Phase Rush Cassiopeia as well, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if you say Lucian uses his dash early, or Senna doesn't have the E available, as we do see a little bit of a couple of love taps going either way. Basically, if there's no engaged tools left on the side of the CGA, this Cassiopeia can run rampant with the Phase Rush and the Zoomies.
Yeah, and of course, like we have talked about how the Nidalee can be kind of a utility pick later on, especially if you want, because obviously her heal in the human form does offer attack speed when it's used, and there's a couple AD carries that might appreciate that, especially the Lucian, because
Senna has the fixed
attack speed, so it will be that Lucian that will be feeling pretty happy about that. Double heals as well, because Senna is capable of providing those as well. So potentially a bit of sustain coming in. But a late invade here. But it will be a 3v3, 4v3, I apologize.
4v4,
coming in
Cass is
here.
coming down.
I think DFM are just going to back out, and that's a good dash to secure the ward kill for Arya in that top side. No, I think DFM are going to leave this place alone. Early sweep means 2 wards down straight away for CJ. That's 2/5 of
The
DFM's early vision just gone off that kind of invade that was aborted.
But the problem here is that actually Gango doesn't get back in time for the 3 melee creep, so he's actually pretty far down in XP there. As much as, so killing early wards, killing a ward at level 1 means that if you are a solo laner, you actually hit level 2 off of the very first wave after all the minions have gone down. Normally you'd hit it off the first creep of the second wave that comes in, but if you see here, if he manages to clear up all of these minions here, he should hit level 2, unless I'm completely mistaken. No, he hits it right there, as you see. So yeah, this Lucian looking pretty happy here. But we'll have to see how these trades play out against this Cassiopeia.
Yeah, and we have talked about how this matchup can be a bit swingy. Of course, Cassiopeia very much has tools coming, and lo and behold, it is the buff invade from Nidalee that is so famous, way ahead of this Olaf that has just gone for the blue side entire clear. Probably just going to have to let his red buff go.
Yeah, and this is one of the better ways you can play. Well, it's one of the better starts you can get on the Nidalee. As we see Ario dashing in here, does he hit a poison though?
Huge.
And what a better way to have this mid lane that we talked about so much be put into a skill matchup. That is exactly what I wanted out of these two players. Both being able to have options to trade against each other's Yoshi.
He hits the spear. He's going to think about going in, but the axe comes through, and that'll be that. That's a good hook, though, onto the Yuumi out of nowhere. And we're still going, I believe, it's just a little bit of a freeze from the spectator end of that. And that means that Gango takes a bit of a trade in return. And that's the end of that, outside of a good hook from Grendel, though.
Yeah, so we did get to see half of that fight because it froze on our screen.
That's
But that's great. That's fine. Nothing important happens. Right?
No.
There's as we see a fighter on this bottom skeleton. Maybe Yoshi is. Oh, actually
bound
hit
for the
by
Undertale.
spear.
Yeah.
Oh, not spear. Hit by the axe. Axe is spear. Same thing, right?
Very clearly, they're both thrown
Yeah,
weapons from
both
an
throw
earlier
weapons.
age.
Yeah,
I'll
sure,
take that.
cool.
Yeah.
As we see that, so the thing about this Nidalee Olaf matchup is that both of them farm really well. Is just that Steel will have a bit easier time running into the fights because Nidalee can't really get stuck in against this other Tom composition. There are so many answers to her. Very, very squishy on this champion, especially against the likes of the Vladimir and the Cassiopeia if they manage to land all their damage on the Cougar.
Yeah, we're actually looking at a very even CS. He says Arya dashes forward, it's on the miasma, and that means that Steel is here. Gonna try and get the kill, but that's a good flash out from Seros, means first blood for the Olaf. Arya
so close!
Oh my days. He's a 9 HP. Good grief. Playing to the edge there. That mid lane is as volatile as we thought it would be, but it is, in the end, a mid jungle versus just the mid, and that means that Arya does go down, burns both his summoners, has no TP to come back into lane. It's going to feel a bit sad about that one.
And the skill matchup for the first time is interrupted by Steel. Arya playing with limits there, so very, very close to getting the solo kill over onto Seros. This is the matchup which we really wanted to see, as I said, and how better to have it come down to all these 1v1s.
Yeah. Wow. CS pretty even across most lanes. Slightly for the Nidalee because she farms pretty well, but it is actually out of nowhere a little bit. Well, 10 CS lead in the bot lane for the side of DFM. That Misfortune doing very well.
That's because there is the support item on the center.
So there is. You're absolutely right. It is that sickle that Senna likes to pick up, and that actually means
Soul farming Senna.
Soul farming Senna, indeed. But even so, the Nautilus hasn't picked up that much of the CS so far.
Yeah, so what you try and do is you try and freeze the wave, so you don't try and hit too much of it as well. But if you look actually between the two bot laners, that's
about even.
That's 35 altogether, whereas there's 38 on the side of Utapon, right? So actually, they picked up most of the CS in the lane anyway. It's just who it's being put between.
All right, bit of a mid lane engage here. Yoshi and Grendel turning up at Seros, but the phase rush is procced. He's going to be able to get out and away from that spear. It's about half HP to a third HP. Arya comes out on top of that one, but Seros does disengage and isn't going to lose out this wave, so nothing much.
6 hit from Seros right now. Arya, up until this point, has actually been playing really well around the Noxious Blast, the Cassiopeia Q. Whenever that's been thrown out on the wave, Arya tries to dash in, start off the trade while the poison isn't available to buff up those Twin Fangs. As we see here, once again, Gango just freezing out this lane here. And one of the other things that obviously, when you don't kill a minion yourself, you do get the increased soul drop chance. If you have a relic shield on your support, that does kind of drop down again, which is why we see the Doran shield from Grendel, actually instead of the relic shield.
I think there is like a set number of CS you can pick up per wave or minute or whatever it is.
It's like 5 per. You're looking for like 5 per 10 or something. No, yeah. You try and miss all of the range creeps. I can't remember the exact 3 every wave. So you miss half the wave. You miss all the ranged creeps, and then you try and kill the cannon as well. But the thing with Senna is that you can actually opt to have less as well. So you see Steel looking to impact mid again, actually.
There's a Petrifying Gaze and a Miasma available rather for Seros. So we could see some damage, but Olaf just backing away, and that'll be the end of that. Slight gold lead for DFM off that first blood, but otherwise nothing else to write home about. Of course, there is that slightly odd CS tendencies in the bot lane. Makes it look a little bit abstract, but actually is pretty even down there as well.
And the other thing is that souls give you a lot of gold value for Senna as well. I think each soul is something like 30 gold, something like that in terms of stats.
Yeah.
Obviously that comes into your passive and stuff like that, and she is balanced around that, which means that you get less gold out of her functionality and the rest of her kit in some places. Not that you'd be able to tell because Senna's passive is a full paragraph. It's a very long description.
Bit of rules there. There's a lot of game design going into that one. As Yoshi's here invading on Krugs, Vladimir's under tower, could potentially go for a tide, but would be a bit risky.
Is this the infamous Krug trade again?
It is a Krug trade. Yoshi's gone for an invade here in the jungle.
Dangerous things, those Krugs.
They are.
But yeah, so
I'm not sure how broadcast friendly that clone is, but we're kind of running with it now. So we're just
running
here.
with it. And Yoshi has managed to pick himself up a lot of CS, a lot of different farm on this Nidalee, but Steel is going down towards the dragon, just clearing out the vision for now. See if he wants to start up that dragon. Though it looks like he's running away from it, so absolutely not.
Yeah, and actually we did talk about how Nidalee loves the power farm. It's got to level 6 earlier, is starting up that Rift Herald, but that means that DFM will just trade onto this initial Cloud Drake, so it'll be a neutral for neutral. And I have to say I need to see CGA start snowballing a little bit more, because I kind of feel they're going to get outscaled by the likes of a Vladimir and a Cassiopeia.
Eventually the AoE team fight is going to come across from DFM, and they're going to have to play the game very, very differently. They'll want to probably fight around one item on each of their carries and then try and snowball that into a win. Something like the Blade of the Ruin King. 2 items. Blade of the Ruin King into the Essence Revolution. And then you have the Mana Moon and, well, it depends if it's straight into lethality after that. But the pickaxe being picked up means that it probably is going to be the Mana Moon picked up for the center and the bot lane as well.
Yeah, and like, not that I don't expect that CGA have no scaling. Santa's well known to scale pretty well.
And you have the
Ornn,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Ornn is always going to tip those scales slightly in your favor in some ways. So we'll see. But I have to think that between a Hema Plague, a Petrifying Gaze, and a Bullet Time alongside that horrific Yuumi Olaf combo that makes me shudder in my sleep, DFM have definitely got some pretty scary mid to late game tools. As we're seeing another bit of a trade go on in mid lane, but I think that's going to be the end of that as well.
Yeah, just the Miasma thrown down to dissuade Lucian from dashing in, actually stopping him from dashing in with the grounded mechanics as well. One of the other things that Cassiopeia is pretty good against the Lucian for if you do use that W pretty well.
Really good at making sure people are calm and level-headed, you know, keeping them grounded. Some good stuff there. Wondering whether there might be a bit of a... No, Yoshi's just permanently thinking about backing.
So he has the empowered recall from the
Yeah,
Herald, so he's pretty happy to see that. Snap has got he might actually have a decent freeze here going on as well.
Yeah, Ebby's trying to desperately break it, but it's a little bit tricky. But they're not affecting his CS currently, but we'll see whether that continues.
Are, like, if there is a gank to come in... Oh,
all right, it's level 6 now for the Olaf. It's level 6 for the Yuumi. Grendel has to be very careful. And Steel is ready to go. That's an Undertow out. Are they just going to shove the wave and back? Yeah. Looking like it.
The thing is that, remember, this lane doesn't
Yoshi's here. Got to be careful. Yeah, no, it just takes a bit of damage. But of course, Zumi's mean. Olaf doesn't actually take any meaningful damage.
Yep, absolutely not. Ebby trading and breaking the freeze on this top side, it looks like, as well, after Yoshi showed himself on the bot side of the map. Can use the Tides of Blood to shove in this last couple of minions here
beautiful
as well.
VFX on that skin, actually. I'm a massive fan of that on the Tides of Blood there.
Oh, Naf actually missing out on the cannon. That's kind of sad.
It is a little bit. But we're all about our cannon takes here on the LJL. And as we're sort of seeing... much of the same muchness going on. Not much of CS leads, not much action currently. We've seen some posturing, but that's about it. Maybe when this second Drake spawns in probably 3 minutes or so, we might see a little bit more. But until that point, not a lot occurring.
Yeah. We do see Nap just missing out on the... he's actually
Summoner Ignite coming from the spellbook, but it's a decent Tides of Blood to keep Ebby safe, and that means nothing happens there again. And what looked like a kind of cool engage turned out to be not a lot.
It was a mistake to commit the ult when the pool was
but
still up.
Yoshi's going to get caught in engage, and he's got slowed down. He can't run away from that. Flashes over the wall. Oh, did I just see a failed flash from Steel? I did, but it just means that Gang picks it up with a Prowling Projectile instead of Saros. Flashes over as well for the assist.
I'm actually not sure sure if the Senna ult hit there. I can't remember if the shield came in time. But yeah, it's Yoshi getting a little bit too far forward there. Perhaps just not showing the discipline you do need in this early game on the Nidalee. Have been farming very well up until this point, but still does manage to get the better end of that trade there, obviously, ending up with the kill.
An ult on this final chapter, and Nap is in a lot of trouble. Has to flash, but it's into the waiting arms of Ebby, who picks up a kill there. Clean dive. The ult was still down from the attempted 1v1 on the top side earlier, so nothing from Nap to do.
This is getting pretty scary for the side of CGA already. 3 kills down, about a K.5 down as well. There are 3 stacks on the Dark Seal of the Yuumi, who will be building towards a Medjay at some point in this game, probably, as long as there aren't too many big shutdowns coming through. And the only hope for CGA now is that their bot lane manages to scale alongside the rest of DFM and try and keep things relatively competitive in that regard.
Yeah, and plates still up for a minute or so, so CGA are desperately going to try and pick up as much of this as they can as the Rift Herald is summoned down here. Going to pick up at least 2 more plates, probably more, but no, they're going to back away, and that means swiftly taken care of by Utapon, but 3 plates claimed in the bot side. Does pull that goal back a touch, but DFM still looking pretty strong here.
And the scary thing now is that Steel's picked up the Warrior, which means that Yoshi really can't tangle with his Olaf. You can kind of walk in and farm very quickly, take camps away very quickly, but if Olaf is there and manages to land the undertow, this Nidalee is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Nidalee thrives on being able to choose the distance of her engages. That leap in, leap out, but if you're getting slowed by undertows, you just get run down, and Olaf can do that, especially with the zoomies and the Ragnarok. Got to be so careful about how you tangle with that Olaf at this point.
Absolutely. So, the game's starting to calm down a little bit more, except the Infernal has spawned, so that is completely wrong once again. And CGA are starting it up here. They do have even levels between the junglers. There is no smite advantage in this fight.
The flash is coming. No, sorry, the flash, the teleport's coming in, but that's Arya having to flash away. Nap's in behind with a decent call of the Forge God. Steel taken pretty low, but so is Grendel. And Utapon finally turned up, but Vladimir executes that. Seros did get killed as a great engage from Arya in the backside, but it's all gone wrong because Ebby is so strong. And that means that the Infernal Drake is picked up, and it's a 1 for 2 in the end as well.
Yeah, so at least Arya and Nap managed to pick up a kill onto Seros there at the end of it. Arya playing pretty well around the Petrifying Gaze, gets a good trade off onto the Cassiopeia early into that, has to flash away from the Olaf, but I'm sure we'll see that in the replay as well, so maybe I'll keep my powder dry for that. But yeah, it's a really big trade for DFM. So, we see CGA starting up the objective, but geography is against them in this fight. They don't want to be really pinned against the Olaf, which is why Grendel chooses to engage. Arya gets caught on the Miasma, but does get a good ult off as to make sure that there's some good trading onto the Cassiopeia. Nap does manage to get the knock-up onto Seros into the Brittle proc. Seros just kind of walking into that a little bit. They didn't know that Nap was there. Perhaps just not quite aware of the damage coming out of that on. Does pay for it with his life. The first kill of the game going for the way of CGA. But it does mean that the rest of the fight goes the way of DFM.
Yeah, that's a huge lead now for Ebby in that top side. It's only really Arya in the mid lane who's even comparable to a lot of DFM at this point as well.
Absolutely. And Ebby is scary already. He is. Very, very scary. I think the way you shut him down is by landing a Nautilus hook, but once that's down, I mean, there's very little you can do. Has the pull to get away from the Nautilus ult as well, so there's a lot of things that Ebby can do to outplay these teamfights. Already at the Proto Belt with the extra CDR from a Fiendish Codex, and has the needlessly large rod
on top, but that's a flash at Utapon, but Utapon responds in kind and is away from that. I was about to say, looking at that Vladimir at 3-0, level 11, so second rank of Hema Plague, along with all the CDR he could possibly want, is well and truly online. This Vladimir, very scary, only 16 minutes into this game.
Yeah, and as we were saying, has the phase rush, and the Yuumi alongside that to have just the best mobility in team fights. Does have the 20% CDR from runes as well. You'll have the scaling 1 to 10% CDR rune from the first tree of your stat tree, and then have Transcendence as well. So we'll be nearing 35 to 40% already on this Vladimir.
But first tower is still available, and it's looking like it's going to go the way of CGA. But Ebby is up on the top side and will trade pretty swiftly. And of course, that second Rift Herald was just picked up by DFM, so they're going to push in this mid lane too. And if CGA don't back, actually, they might lose 2 turrets in this mid lane.
I don't think they're going to quite do that, just because DFM choose to back off themselves, get themselves a reset. We'll get the second charge off at the very least.
They do indeed.
But there's a lot of waves being shoved in across the map now as well. DFM taking 2 very important turrets for the sake of map control means that the next objective, which will be, the Baron up on that top side, will have a lot more control from the side of DFM. None of their outer turrets down on that side of the map themselves yet.
Nope. Seros is now online for Seros. That's transformed. That's a good sign for him.
Seros for Seros?
I know, I was just making sure I pronounced that right as well. I believe I did, though I'll have to go back over that replay now, I'm unsure. But I'm pretty sure that's going to be a nice, useful tool. It means that if, of course, he is going to get dived even more aggressively in the next fight by Arya, has got that defensive tool. Arya on the other side has picked the Blade of the Rune King, has got a Coalfields Warhammer in inventory, ready to go, and Ornn is slowly getting towards the point where those masterwork items will be coming online for the rest of his team. Currently, only a Blade of the Ruin King I can see as an upgradable item for the rest of the team, though, so therefore we're going to have to step up a little bit and find some things for him to be able to upgrade.
Well, they've got another couple of minutes, so
yeah,
he's only level 12 right now, and they will be going towards the Blade of the Ruin King, like you're saying. Then you kind of levels start being harder to come by as the game goes along. There is the Athenes now picked up for Yoshi as well, just coming out of base with that as Steel, runs Arya.
Away.
Just chin checking,
Yeah, just making sure he knows what he's doing. Going to be decent tower take in the top side for CGA, who are doing their best to make sure this gold lead isn't ballooning from DFM. But of course, while the gold lead isn't ballooning, Ebby is quite happily nearly at death cap. So
well, he picks up both of these outer turrets on the sidelines.
Yeah, he's
unreal
real strong right now.
This is the problem where you do have one of these team compositions which is arguably outscaled, is that if you trade even, you're kind of trading down, right? Because you're accelerating the other team towards that late game in terms of their total gold. Yes. And at that point, it doesn't matter how much gold you have. Once Vlad, who has picked up a death cap at near enough 19 minutes, will be able to just kill your entire team.
Yep.
No, I don't see the counterplay.
No, I don't know.
There is
a Nautilus depth charge and a hook, maybe.
You can pull the Nautilus ult. The hook, yeah, if you land the hook, maybe you can try and burst him out. But this guy's level 13. He actually has a lot of defensive tools available to him.
And if you burn that, of course, on the Vladimir, that Olaf with the Yumi is more than capable of doing the damage for you, and that's a decent Tides of Blood, but it is currently a 5v4. Seros is not there and available, does have the TP, though. The Ocean Drake is live. It is an Ocean Rift. That soul can come online, but the split push continues from Seros.
Yeah, has the TP available to him, as does Ebby, so either of them are able to fulfill that role. CGA trying to get some mid-priority here before the Dragon starts off. Seros still on the top side, will be able to get that turret. It's just whether CGA can trade onto this mid lane. I don't think they will be able to, though, because Ebby's running forward.
Yeah, and Seros just takes that tower in trade. CGA now moving back towards the Ocean Drake, but DFM are more than willing to come in and trade. And we talked about the Vladimir Yumi combo. It's ready to go. They are ready to go. All ultimates are ready to go. Can CGA find the turn on? Arya's on the flank, but I think he might be on a ward. It's difficult to say with that Ocean Bush, as the Prowling Projectile is there. The Ocean Drake is started up. It's about half HP. CGA is there, so is still. The teleport is here. CGA backing away. It's a decent Tides of Blood. It's a decent hook, though, in response from Grendel. The Call of the Fortune had to come down. Drake's
Arya's
secured,
not here
but
yet.
Grendel is taking so much damage. You're right, Arya is finally coming in from the back, but it's going to be too little too late. Petrifying Gaze flash over the wall, but Nap is taking so low. Arya slays the Olaf, but Ebby is a monster on this Vladimir. And that means that everybody is dying. It's a 3-for-1 in the end for DFM.
3-for-1 and Dragon again to the side of DFM. This game slowly but surely heading into the abyss, which is a DFM victory from the perspective of CGA. They're actually heading over towards the Baron at this point because